Yeah, funny enough, I am so born and raised in Orlando, Florida. I, from a really young age, was very interested in like movie magic, behind the scenes, all that kind of stuff. I would say probably because of the theme parks and stuff in Orlando. I loved going to like it was Disney MGM Studios back then and see the behind the scenes tour and Catastrophe Canyon and all this cool stuff they would do. I also went to a private school there that was part of a mega church. So in fifth grade, I actually was really interested in TV and film stuff, and I started volunteering there, operating broadcast studio cameras for the Sunday broadcast. And I learned basically all the technical stuff of how to operate a camera. I even got to tech direct some of the sermons and it would be out to the local affiliates. So like Channel 9 News would air it on Sundays. So I really got a good like really early on like education in professional like broadcast stuff. And I just continued loving making movies. My dad always had a camera in front of my face from a little age. He had, a VHS camcorder. So I started to learn how to use that and make my own little movies. Anytime my school had like a project that was due, like do a book report or do this, I would always ask to do a short film or a movie. So I would do that, sometimes stop motion, sometimes like, I'd do my own little acting things. So I always had an interest in it. I ended up going to a high school that was for visual performing arts called Dr. Phillips. It was right behind Universal Studios. And I was in the TV and film program there. And we even had a after hours club for film. And they brought in a real first AD and some directors. And they were like, hey, we're going to help you guys make a short film. We're going to do it like a real film would be made. We're going to schedule it. We're going to write it. We're going to do all this stuff and they selected me to direct. I was a sophomore at the time out of all the people that were there because I already had a good background and like I knew what an establishing shot was. I knew like what coverage was, that kind of thing. So I got to direct the short film in 10th grade and went to like festivals around Florida and yeah, it just kept encouraging what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to college out at USC. I didn't get into the film program there, but I did get into UCF, and I wanted to stay there because my parents were like, "Hey, if you stay there, you stay close to us for a while. The college account that we have for you already have scholarships to UCF, so you can just take that and use that as whatever you need afterward if you don't spend it." So I was like, I was like, that'll help me get to LA quicker. So went to school at UCF. When I was there, I actually learned that I really like producing. I realized I didn't really like directing so much. I liked the logistics. I liked the creativity, the problem solving about trying to take a script and make it. So I produced a bunch of short films for friends, which is how I ended up getting connected with the people that were doing the indie film in Utah. They were based at UCF in the master's program, and they were going to go do this movie. They saw what I was doing and producing projects. They're like, "Hey, you really know your stuff. Like, you want to come help us produce this?" So I did, and it got me out to LA quick. And basically, my last semester of college, I was interning in LA. So I was still in college when I moved out. Interned at Scott Free Productions, which is Tony and Ridley Scott's company out there. Learned behind the scenes of like development and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I just kept working and finding my way through the industry. As you said, I think in one of your questions, I worked as like an office PA on Entourage, and then Brothers and Sisters. I was a line producer's assistant for a while on some various ABC Family stuff. Um, got into the Directors Guild of America trainee program, and from there, I just kept finding work and moving on and moving up, and here I am today.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
That sounds like a fun and wild ride at the same time. A lot of stuff you've accomplished in a short period of time, it sounds like too. So very cool.
Yeah, it's you never know where you're going to end up. So sometimes also you just take a job and you're like, hey, I don't know, we'll see where it takes me. And I had to
Yeah.
learn kind of. I used to like to be a planner, but I learned pretty early on, like when I was on Entourage, actually, I was like worrying, what's my next job going to be? Because the show was only like 3 months long, and I'm like, I realized if I keep worrying about what my next job's going to be, as soon as I start a job, I'm just gonna like die from stress. So I
Yeah.
just had to learn, like, you know what? I'm just gonna do my best at the job as it gets closer to the end, I'll start poking feelers around, that kind of thing. But to just not stress about it, it's going to work itself out.
Mhm.
And so far, it has. So,
Good. Yeah, I could see how
Right.
that would get you to go for, you know, 3 month show, like you said, if you start out going into it going, what am I going to do next? You're not like focusing on the
Hmm.
pan. That's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else
Al-
can you tell me
Alex?
about or what else? Yeah, what else can I fill you in? So that's a little bit, yeah, about where I came from, how I got here. And you guys, I know we're asking about, Station 19, of course. I've been there since season two. I came in I think it was episode four of season two. So there was somebody else there. I think they had been there from season one as a second AD, and for whatever reason, they were gonna leave. Like it was their choice. They needed to leave. So Kia Siemens, my first AD at the time, I had never worked with her before. She got my name through people and said, "Hey, I was good," interviewed me, and I got the job. Um, but came in, yeah. So episode four of, I think that's what it was, of season two, and then I've just stayed ever since.
Good.
Can you tell everybody what an AD does? Because a lot of people have no idea what that is. Like you
Yeah,
hear it, but
absolutely.
you're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so there's basically Directors Guild of America is the guild or union that covers directors, first ADs, second ADs, um, production managers. But so the first assistant director is basically the person that is the director's right-hand person. So the director tries to focus on creative stuff, like, how to tell the story. The AD tries to focus on the logistics of how to achieve the director's vision. So the first AD specifically will get the script and we'll break it down into scenes and elements and all that kind of stuff and schedule it. So it's basically so the crew knows how to go about filming it. And they work with the director to say, like, hey, like, which scene do you want to film first? Who do you need in this scene? Like, what are all the elements that make each individual scene? And you break it down into those chunks to then, basically be able to effectively tell the director's story. And you try to take all the logistics off the director as much as you can. So that way, again, they can focus on the creativity while the first AD basically, if you think of it as like the first AD is like the captain of a ship in a sense. The director, or let's say the captain of we'll go with a below deck reference. The captain of a charter yacht is the first AD. Um, the director on TV is sort of like the charter guest. They hired the boat, they come in, they say, I want to do this, 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 and this. And so then the captain, it's their responsibility to make sure that that person that hired this boat is getting to do all the things they want to do and deals with all the craziness of the crew, the weather, the anything that may come up to make the director or the charter guest have a great time and get what they want. So if you think of it that way, and then that captain is in charge of again the crew, telling them where to go, what to do, pivoting when there's problems, and basically keeping it a smooth sailing, more or less. So I like that sort of way to relate it so people can understand for a first AD. And then a second AD or a second assistant director is sort of the first AD's right-hand person that more or less takes that schedule and goes about executing the plan. So the first AD is like on the set executing it when they're filming. The second AD is basically executing the next day's plan. So like almost like laying the tracks for the train before it gets there. So, hey, I know we're filming right now, but tomorrow we're going to be on location doing this, this, and this. I need to make sure that we have all the things ready for filming for tomorrow. Then I need to reach out and make sure the actors know their call times, make sure they know what they're filming, make sure we have all the actors, all those kind of things. And sort of it's like a backup to the first AD, but also sort of again, like I said, laying the tracks before the train gets there. So the train being production and it's coming down those tracks and nothing's going to stop it. So just try to keep it moving.
On. Don't let it
So
derail.
cool.
That's
That's so
amazing.
cool. My inner film nerd just is like, that's so cool. Like all the it's so cool to see all the little pieces that have to come together and like how much like I think people don't realize like how much goes into the production. Like it's not just like people just show up and do it. Like there's so much planning, and I think people don't realize like how much down to every single detail it has to be planned out and laid out perfectly to make things happen.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's really cool hearing the behind like how it all fits together.
Everything is talked about, from what pin they're going to use on scene, like from like what the sun is that day, what time of day it is, like every little detail has to be discussed. And if they don't get discussed, inevitably those are the things that become a problem. It's like, oh, we didn't talk about that and it doesn't work now, or we need that, you know? So
Hmm.
you try as an AD, you try to think of all those things ahead of time. You try to anticipate. Inevitably, you can't anticipate everything, but you do your best to just try to ask all the questions and prepare for everything.
Oh, absolutely. Wow, fascinating.
Mhm.
I had no idea what an AD was until like just recently. So I
And
really
this is
appreciate,
why we do this.
yeah, exactly. And
I know it is kind of
so,
a hidden thing, but it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, such an important role. It's amazing. We have a specific question about season 7 here. It just as we know, it was emotionally and technically ambiguous scenes in the series. It was series. We found out that it was the end, so you guys were able to, you know, deliver in a manner and solidify some stories. But as a first AD, what were some of the biggest challenges faced during production for that season?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so it was my first season as a full-time first AD on season 7. So it was quite an honor to be moved up, that Peter and the team trusted me to step into those shoes. Um, and day one was really a big challenge because day one we were actually filming at the Grey's Anatomy sets for season 7. So it was Paris was directing. It was day one of season 7. We were filming at Grey's Anatomy. So usually we'd be on our home stages. And anytime we go to Grey's, it was kind of just, it's a big thing because that's the mothership, you know, and we have to work around their schedule and that kind of stuff. Um, and also day one of filming, it's like, you know, not necessarily all the same crew are there season 7. It might be some different people. It's also, we hadn't done it for a few months. So coming in to like not being on your home sets. And well, actually, also, we had just moved to Disney that season with the Disney Studios. We were at Sunset Las Palmas before for all the prior seasons. So it was a big day. Not to mention that was also Brooklyn's first day on set. My first day, Brooklyn's first day. We're at we're at another stage that we don't usually go to. Um, so that was a challenging day, but it was also a super rewarding day because it just went so well. Um, but I know the real question here was, what are the challenges? So day two, we were back on stage at our home stages on our newly built fire station at Disney. And that's the day we got the word that the show was going to come to an end. So such a high with my daughter on set, the first day of stuff, you know, everything went so great. To then day two, it was just like being punched in the gut, you know, like, hey, everybody, we just found out we're done. We get to finish the story, but it's over. And honestly, we all thought we were going to go for a while. I mean, at least another season because they just moved everything to Disney Studios. You know, we thought, hey, we're going to be here a little while. So it was a big shock. That was definitely, you know, a very difficult thing to deal with emotionally behind the scenes because everyone was just, you know, gutted after that. And then we still had to keep filming, you know, and I'm having to try to run the set and keep the energy up, keep it moving. Um, that made it very difficult to do, but I think I did it effectively. And then we also had another day that was really, it was just a huge, difficult day. We were out at Disney Ranch. This was for episode 9. Um, One of our picture car guys, JK, he had all the fire trucks, so he owned them, and he had been with the show since season 1. He got sick toward the end of season 7, and we knew it was bad, but we didn't know how bad. And we found out, we actually sent him a video when we were out at Disney Ranch saying we love him, the whole crew. And we found out that later that same day he saw the video, but that he had passed, which was awful. And to get that news when we wrapped at the end of the day, we then had to come back the next day to Disney Ranch and we had huge stunt sequence with a tree falling on Carlos. We had a huge helicopter sequence, helicopter landing, loading them up, taking off. Um, and we had tons of wind and fire and smoke and all this kind of stuff. It was just a crazy day. JK's wife also worked on the show, and they were coming to basically, you know, say goodbye to the crew, like just, you know, give everyone hugs and that kind of thing. So they came in the beginning of the day, and it was just such an emotional day. It was just so hard to like have this heavy real life thing happening while you're also trying to make entertainment. Um, I mean, everyone loved JK and like, and his son came too. His son worked on the show from time to time. And to get the crew and myself focused again after that was just probably it was the hardest day I've ever had on set for sure. Emotionally, to lose somebody, to then also have just a huge, massive day that's incredibly dangerous too. Like a helicopter on set is always extremely dangerous. So for me as a first AD, I'm also in charge of safety to make sure that the crew is safe and focused. And I mean, that was by far the hardest day I've ever had on a set, any set. And I mean, I tear up now thinking about everything in JK and losing him. Um, he was just a great person to work with, and it crushed all of us for sure. So, sorry, sorry to get down about that, but those were definitely, and again, those were things that were behind the scenes. It wasn't necessarily the content of the show. Um, the content of the show at times was very, very difficult too, but you know, uh, I think the behind the scenes and those kind of things, and to try to not let it translate onto the screen when it wasn't meant to, was, sort of my job too, to help keep the crew and the cast focused. Um, but yes, there was some tough days. And then if you want to go a little more light about it, the Pride Parade was logistically incredibly challenging, but so much fun. Like probably some of the most fun I've ever had on a set. Because Peter was so proud of that episode, and we just had so much fun making the floats, and it was so much work. But he's like, because I made the schedule, and I'm like, Peter, I don't know how we do all this. Like, there's so much stuff to do. He's like, Bryce, he's like, I will go fast. I will get this stuff done, schedule it, how you think it needs to be scheduled, but just know that I will make our days. Uh, and I said, okay, let's do it. And I mean, we were literally running on set from scene to scene, from set to set to make our days, and it was just like literally it was so much fun. Like it was, and the content in that was heavy at time too. I mean, it was with the protesters on the corner, like just the hate that they were able to convey, and I mean it just gave you chills too when you would be on set and they were chanting and throwing stuff at people. But gosh, it was so fun to like the music and the people dancing, and that was just both on camera and behind the scenes so much fun. Um, and actually, I was really proud of that too because Peter turned to me during one of the days there, and he said, Bryce, I forget that this is like your first time as a full-time first AD. Like I feel like you've been doing this for years. And it was like such a nice moment to get that from him because he's so experienced and so good at what he does. Um, so that made me feel good.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's
Thanks for
awesome.
sharing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great insight. And just a reminder that you guys have like there's emotion behind the scenes happens, and you lost somebody dear and true to your hearts, and the show had to go on. Yeah, you guys have just did an incredible job, and we can't thank you enough as fans for all the devotion that you guys put into each episode. We could definitely tell.
Yeah, there
Um,
was a lot of love put in, the writers were the writers and producers and the directors all really believed in the stories they were telling. And yeah, you can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
exactly. Was there a specific episode that you're especially proud of?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I would say the Pride Parade was definitely one of them because it was just so much fun. It was like such a massive thing to do, and like to make those floats and to figure it all out and to do it so quickly and get it done. Um, let me see. I had some notes about this. Uh, I was also really proud of sort of as a film nerd myself, like working on episode 5 of season 7 was when we did the Space Needle. So Darren was directing, and we shot the elevator stuff on Disney's Infinity Stage, which is sort of like when they do The Mandalorian and those things. They have that, they call it the volume, and it's a big circular screen. And so it's a virtual stage, virtual production. And so the people that run the Infinity Stage is ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. So anyone that's a film buff knows that they are the ones that did all the special effects and visual effects for
Mhm.
Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So working with ILM, I was really I really enjoyed that. We worked with them a few different times, but that was specifically a really big episode that we worked with them and did a lot of pre-visualizations of like how we were going to do this elevator with the screens and what how big of a set piece we could put in there. There was so much logistics and just so cool to like be behind the scenes working with ILM and see how they make magic, movie magic and TV magic. Very proud of that because just to say I was working with them. I got to be a first AD that did a show with ILM.
Right.
And also, of course, the probably the most proud I was was episode 701 when day one, Brooklyn was on the set and they put her in that bassinet on the hospital set and she just kind of like looked up, opened her eyes, looked up, opened her mouth and yawned and then kind of rolled over a little bit or like turned her head a little bit. And everyone behind Video Village was like, oh my gosh, she's perfect. It's like she knew. She's like she read the scene. And I was just so proud of how great she did on the set. Um, and because I didn't know, I had no idea how she was going to be. And in some ways, I almost was hoping that they didn't pick her to be in the set because I'm like, she may scream, she may like not do what
Right.
she's supposed to do, she may burp up on stuff. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but that was, yeah, seeing my little baby girl and just how everyone just fell in love with her and that she did such a great job playing a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Stefania made
proud
some
of
comments in the past where like she kind of had to shake her a little bit to keep her eyes open and
Yeah, yeah,
awake, and she
yeah. You'll
kept
see
like going to
Stefania kind of,
sleep.
she's like going to sleep. Yeah, she like kind
Yeah.
of pushed her a little bit.
But it sounds like everyone loved having her on set, everyone we've talked to. So it was a perfect fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that was a very proud dad, proud moment.
Yeah.
So,
that.
You all went to work together, although
mhm.
she couldn't work very long.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you guys probably want to know the story, I'm sure, about how Brooklyn ended up.
Sure,
They,
how they guess.
right. So, Brooklyn was born the end of September of 2023. Um, she's my second child. I have a baby boy. He's now so Brooklyn's almost 2, and my son Braden is almost 6. So I had Braden when I was in season 3 of Station 19, and Brooklyn in season 7, or just before season 7 began. Um, so I got them work permits just in case. We work in Hollywood. It's like, hey, they both had work permits just in case somebody ever needed a baby or something came up. I just made sure it was ready. Um, episode 1, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, there's a baby in it. I'm like, well, Brooklyn's probably too old to play the baby. Like, we really need to look for someone younger. So we did. So we reached out to our casting people and said, hey, we're looking for twins. We always look for twins because, like you were saying, there's a very limited time you can work with babies on set. They can only work from the hours of like, I think it's 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning, or I think it's 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. And they can only be on set for, gosh, I forget, like they can only film for like a total of 20 minutes, uh, and only be at the place of work for 2 hours. So usually you get twins. That way you can kind of have more time. Like one baby can be on set for the full 20 minutes, and then the other one can be on the set for the full 20 minutes. Um, so we're looking, not finding any twins. We say, okay, well, just find us babies that maybe look similar, that are young, and we couldn't get that either. So like the youngest we were finding, I think at the time was like 6 weeks old. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, like that's Brooklyn's 6 weeks old. So I just kind of threw her in the mix. I made sure like from like the other producer standpoint, I just said, hey, like, is this okay? Like, is there any problem with this? They're like, no, put her in. If they pick her, they pick her. But I didn't make it known. Like I didn't tell the director. I didn't push for it. I just put her in the mix. And so what we did is they ended up picking Brooklyn and another baby. I think we had 3 that day to come in. We liked the look of them. Everyone felt good about it. We brought them all in on the day of filming, and we kept them in like a room. Just keep it quiet. And I said, "Hey, Paris, like, go back. Here's where the babies are. Like, they're all dressed. They're all ready. Just go in there. Whichever one you think will be best for the scene. Like, whichever one's in the best mood right now. Whatever. Just pick the baby you think's going to be best." So, sure enough, he picked Brooklyn, and and here we are. Uh, and I think honestly, Brooklyn probably was only going to be like maybe a shorter storyline, but then when the show got canceled, it changed, I think, the trajectory of her story um, to where she was going to be around the full season. So she ended up being in 8 of 10 episodes, which is pretty amazing. I mean, she also did a great job, so I'm sure that's part of it too, that they liked having her around. And but yeah, that's how Brooklyn ended up on the set. Um, there was no like I tried to keep it as fair as possible because, like I was saying, I didn't know how she was going to be on camera, if she was going to do great or be afraid or cry. Um,
Yeah.
so part of me was like, you know what? She's getting paid no matter what to be here. So it's fine if you don't pick her. I don't care. She doesn't need to be on camera. I didn't say that to him, but I mean that
Sure.
was my feelings. Plus he didn't know it was her. Um, I'm sure he had a suspicion once he saw my wife standing in there, but but
No pressure.
yeah. But yeah, it's just like, it was if she's there, she's there, and if she's not, she's not. It's fine. So,
That's awesome.
but it all worked out.
Yeah.
That's
She's a
awesome.
natural. It was meant. She was a natural. So cute.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's funny. I mean, it really felt like she read the script at times because she wouldn't cry. Like, she didn't start crying until it was literally in the script that she was supposed to cry. And I even told her, I was like, guys, I don't know if she's gonna cry. Like, she doesn't tend to cry. And I was like, I have this little thing that, sometimes if her nose gets stuffy, you have to like suck the boogers out. And she absolutely hates that thing. So I was like, I brought that. I don't really want to use it, but if you cry, I can just maybe do it once in a
Make her
nostril
cry.
and she might be upset. They're like, no, 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 don't do that. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to, and we brought her on the set, and all of a sudden she started crying. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, it's like she knew. So, but she was a really just chill baby. She would go to anybody, no problem. She wouldn't cry. She just seemed to like enjoy being there, you know. She would go to Danielle, she'd go to Stefania. Like she would be on the set the whole time that we could have her and totally fine with it. So,
Good.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, we thoroughly enjoyed watching her on the set, and everyone we've talked to has really said she was such an incredible baby, and she was super chill, and also she's extremely adorable.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm glad it was Brooklyn, personally.
It was definitely fun.
um,
That worked out.
let's see here. Were there any rituals, inside jokes, or rhythms that made the Station 19 set feel like a second family after all those years?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny enough. I believe Paris started this. I want to say in season one, and maybe you've heard about this before, maybe not. But they would do at the end of every episode, we would do what's called Employee of the Episode, and we would present basically the producers and sometimes the ADs would all talk, and they would figure out somebody on that episode that just excelled and went above and beyond, and we would recognize it as a crew, usually at crew call, like the last day or the first day of the next episode. We'd be like, hey, everyone, let's gather around. We're going to present employee of the episode. So we do this every time, and we had a little trophy made that had their name on it. And they would also get a better parking spot for that episode where they could park close to the stage, and just a recognition that, they were really good. And like we'd say a little thing about like, the greens person. There was a really heavy greens episode, tons of trees and stuff everywhere. They really kicked butt and did a great job and like presented to them. So I think that really did make it feel like a family, because it wasn't just like work, and everyone knew each other and recognized the hard work people would put in. So that was really good. And then also season seven, gosh, what was it? We started something in addition to employee of the episode. We had this like necklace. It was like employee of the day, basically. And we would present it to somebody new. Whoever had it had to then choose the next person to hand it off to the next day. And it was funny, it was just a little necklace thing, and then it started growing. They would start adding things onto it. So like each department would add some kind of random thing. Like we got like a giant piece of a grip clip on it, and then like I think script supervisor put like a clock on there, and there was just it just became this massive thing. Eventually it had like a broom attached to it, and like it was just ridiculous. But we would do that on the show, and that was just fun and to recognize each other and give a shout out to like, hey, this person did a really great job yesterday. They helped me with this, and like I want to give it to them. So we had some rituals, and we were definitely a family, which was it's nice to be on a show that that is a family. I had come from another show I had been on for a long time called Major Crimes, and I was a trainee on that show all the way up to become a second AD through various steps. And I had been on that show, I want to say seasons 3 through 6 or 7 through the end. And it was a nice, we would do 20 something episodes a season, and it was really nice to be in a family situation. So it had been a few years since I had been in that family sort of crew situation. So it was really nice to get back to something like Station 19 that was a family and that we were all very close and worked together for so many years.
Yeah. Uncommon or unusual in Hollywood too, to feel so family on set.
It can, I mean, it's definitely not always that common. I mean, it's funny, like we work long hours. So I make the joke of like, I see these people more than I see my wife because I kind of do. When I'm filming, it's like I'm there 12 hours a day, if not more, Monday through Friday, sometimes the weekends if we have to shoot on the weekend. Um, so you do become a family when you're on a long running show. Uh, but some projects are so quick, it might only be a couple months that it's like they just
Mhm.
up and it's there and it's gone, and you don't get to know people as well. So Station 19 was a nice thing to keep that recurring theme of family many years.
Oh, good. This next question just asks when you're working with directors who all in the show, like Stefania, Danielle, Boris, Jason, who all got to also act as directors. How do you help manage the moments when they need to step out of director mode and into a scene? You take more creative weight during those transitions.
Yeah, that it is difficult. And so funny enough, I was looking through my credits to make sure, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've only worked with Danielle directly when she directed in season 6. I did, of course, witness Jason directing. I was prepping the next episode while he was on set directing. Um, I witnessed, of course, Boris and Stefania directing, and I believe, and Boris he shadowed us during prep of one of my episodes in season 7 just to get a sense before he had to jump into the director's seat. Um, Specifically for like when with Danielle in season 6, her first time, like she was very well prepared. She did her homework, and it is tough, like when a actor is directing and they're in the scene because you really have to that actor and director really has to trust their crew because we have to be their eyes and ears like when they're on the set filming. So, they have to trust the DP to make sure, the cinematographer to make sure that like it looks good and that the shot is what the director wants. They have to trust the script supervisor to make sure that all the beats that the director wants are there and the words are there. They have to trust the first AD to make sure that, technically and everything is going well as well. They got to trust their writers that are there, that are keeping an eye on it, that, kind of puts more of the directing on the writer at that point, which is not necessarily the case. Usually it's like the director is giving the notes, but they really have to trust the writer that's going to watch it and give notes. Um, Sometimes we'll bring in like a video playback person so we can record the scene and then the actor can come watch what they did, so they can see a playback of the take quickly. The problem with that is you could just film the scene again in the amount of time you watched it. So it's sort of it can be a little bit of a time suck. So, you have to use it sparingly. Um, or just know like if you really feel good about it, you just want to double check something, then maybe you quickly scroll through it and make sure it's all there. But yeah, it's hard for a actor to direct, especially when they're in the scene. It's also hard because they've been with this group of people, other actors, for so long as friends, and they all obviously respect each other, but it's still like to then be in a position of where you're telling your co-workers what to do. It can be a little tricky at times. Not that anyone had a problem with that. I'm just saying it is a different dynamic, and to sort of walk that line carefully, to get what you need, but also still be an actor in the show. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I think that answered your question, right?
it does. Yeah.
So that's
Stefania made her directorial debut in season 7, as we know. To you, what stood out about her approach behind the camera?
Yeah, and so again, unfortunately, I wasn't with her on the set usually, although I think I
Hmm.
was there. I can't remember if Brooklyn was in one of those scenes. I think I got to see her direct a little bit in person. But what I know about it is she was just very well prepared also. I mean, all of them did, but she took it very seriously. She made sure that, before she started filming that you know, she had all her notes. She knew what she wanted. She had thought about it and, she just came in prepared, which is excellent. And she was just that's really what it was. She knew what she wanted. It was like, we don't need to do an extra take here. Like, I got what I need. Um, and I think that's what most actors and crew look for in a director is somebody that's decisive,
Hmm.
you, that makes you feel comfortable that you achieved what they want and that you can move on to the next. And honestly, I mean, Jason is very experienced at this point as a director. He does a great job at that. I know Boris was very decisive. Stefania, from what I saw, was very decisive. I know Danielle was as well. I mean, they wanted to direct, they did, and they did it good.
Is if there's one moment on Station 19 that you'll carry with you for the rest of your career, something that made you stop and say, "This is why I do this," what would it be?
I mean, it probably has to go back to obviously Brooklyn being on the show, and seeing her, on the first day and seeing her just do such a great job and everyone falling in love with her. Um, I would say that, let me see, I put some little notes about this. I think, what makes me be like, this is why I do this is like seeing, being able to see my work on the big screen or on the TV screen or wherever, and for people to talk about it and for the fans to love it. Like that's what I love about what I do is I love that I had a hand in making something that people talk about and enjoy and cherish and, and entertain. I like that it's known. And it was so cool to see the world, people all over the world fall in love with Brooklyn, with Liam. and and it was just so cool to just to be known. Like when I worked on Entourage, it was one of the most popular shows at the time. It was such a cool feeling to just say, "Hey, I work on Entourage," and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" Like same with Station 19. It's like to say, "Hey, I work on this entertainment that people like and know," and that's why I do what I do. I really enjoy the logistics of it. Like it's a fun job and I enjoy that it's something that people know about. That I can talk about my job and people really want to hear about it, which is fun. Um, so I think, very proud of Brooklyn being there. I'm always going to remember that moment. And also just to see on like Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, to see all these tweets go across of her face and people just saying like, it's as a parent, you always think you have the most beautiful baby in the world. And it's so
Yeah.
cute. But to actually be validated that the entire people all over the world is like, this baby is so cute and so sweet. And, even if they think it's a baby boy, that's fine. That was pretty cool and I saved a lot of those tweets and screenshot things. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
that's a pretty cool, proud moment. And again, why I do what I do, just to be part of, to entertain. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
When
that.
Brooklyn is old enough to understand, what will you tell her?
Yeah, I saw that question you guys sent me, and I haven't really thought about at what age I would tell her, when it would come up, if we'd sit and watch the show together, or like what we would
Yeah.
do. Um,
Yeah.
I've like I said, I've kept a lot of the stuff that people have posted about her, and I mean, I'll just be like, you know what? You were such a sweet baby and so chill and easygoing, and Daddy really wanted you to come to work with him, and and it was so. I mean, it really was so much fun to have my baby there at work, like to just. And I think I did a great job of separating being the first AD and being a dad.
Sure.
There were times that it was. I think that was another question you guys had, but there were times it was very difficult. I try to always keep it very professional though. And even, when like I think the nice thing about me being the first AD and her dad is I was very comfortable with her. So I could, rather than having the mom, my wife, or the studio teacher or the welfare, like the baby nurse, bringing the baby in and out. I could basically take the baby and hand it to the actor. I could be right there next to the baby by camera, which you always try to get the baby nurse or the mom near the camera or the dad, whoever's with the baby. But sometimes it's just not possible because of the tight quarters of wherever you are. So I think I was actually able to sort of expedite the day because I could be there doing that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was fun to have her at work, and I'll just say, I had a chance to bring you to work, and I got to. Um, and then I'll show her lots of drawings and tweets, and I took some. I had people take some video of me ADing. Like, I actually have a video of her when she first was brought onto the set on day one, which was really cool. And so that shot basically that looks down into the bassinet with Stefania and Danielle, I'm literally right next to camera there, probably 2 feet from Brooklyn, just in case, something, in case I needed to grab her or help her if she's crying. And so I have like a picture of that, like right there with the camera right next to me and her and just a cool, being on the set of Grey's Anatomy, pretty cool thing.
Yeah. That is awesome. And it's also gonna be a really fun story for her to tell one day. Like, you're not gonna believe this, but I was on Grey's Anatomy as a child.
Yeah, exactly. She's
Yeah.
basically gonna, it's
By
gonna be
then, grades will still be going.
yeah, I know. I actually made that joke to Chandra. I said because she was in the scene, I think it was episode 2 or 3, I can't remember now, but they were in the scene together, and I was like, "Hey, Chandra, can we get a picture with you in Brooklyn?" I go because when she's in college at 20 years old, she's gonna be a fan of Grey's Anatomy. It's still gonna be going.
Yeah.
She laughed. She's like, "Oh my." So yeah,
Oh,
that was fun to be able to work with her and um but yeah, it's it would not surprise me if the show's still going.
Forever. Keep going forever.
yeah.
So Station 19 became, a world favorite and a massive impact across the world. Fans passionate about the show. They tried to save the show. Um, what would you want the legacy of 19 to be?
You know, I think I want the legacy to be something that we told stories that meant something. And I feel like we did. I feel like Station 19 was a very socially aware TV show. And it it was entertaining, but also had a purpose. And I think that I'd like, down the road when people watch it, it sort of be maybe a little bit of a time capsule of like what was happening in the world at those times, and you know, to sort of be a history lesson of like, hey, like this is what happened and things got better, or this is what happened and we didn't fix those things and things got worse. So I think, that is its legacy, and the writers and the producers and the showrunners, like they did an excellent job of making stories that had impact. Um, and so I think that I feel that that'll continue, and I hope it does. That years to come, that people do watch it and say, "Hey, like I remember that," or "Yeah, that was a problem back then, and we figured it out." So
Yeah. I mean, even with the rewatch we're doing now, we're on season 4 with COVID, and we're like, this is truly a time capsule of like what life really looked like during COVID,
mhm.
even though it was
Five
crazy
years
enough, what,
ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah,
But it's cool because we're like, wow, like, and then like seeing how much that impacted and how much the world has changed since then. It's really cool show, and I feel like people are gonna be able to go back and look at it and be like, wow, like hopefully some of it's not relevant anymore, and they're going, oh wow, glad we came, this far from it, or like you said, or we don't, and we go, oh, it got worse, we didn't fix it, but but yeah, I think that's why the show was so unique in the fact that it had purpose, right? It made real life issues able for people to understand in a entertaining conversation, and people that normally wouldn't understand representation or issues go, oh wait, now I'm seeing it through a different lens, and now it makes more sense or it matters, and it generated a lot of conversations for people that they probably wouldn't have had. So it's definitely going to have that awesome legacy.
yeah, exactly. And that's I feel like it will as well. And I think it's hard to get that in a TV show because sometimes it is just strictly entertainment. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but but when you can have a message that has meaning, you know, it's nice. So it's nice to work on that.
Yep.
So what's next for you, Bryce? And what's next for Brooklyn? Is Brooklyn going to be doing any more acting? And what have you been up to, or what are you up to lately?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say she's retired. So, you know, if for some reason Grey's Anatomy comes calling and she needs to make an appearance there as baby Liam, sure. But in general, like I think she's retired. As she grows up, if she decides she wants to be an actor, I'm not going to encourage it per se. But if she's really it's something she wants to do and is good at it and is passionate about it, then absolutely by all means, then we'll help her with her passion. But uh but no, I mean I keep her work permit available. She's definitely not as easygoing as she used to be, and I think she's going through a little bit of the stranger danger stuff now. Uh Still a very sweet girl and a happy girl, but definitely I don't think she would be as good on a set right now as she was before.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, you know, I just try to stay busy. Hollywood has definitely been slow. I've even I've worked in sales to have some income and stuff going on when things have been quiet. And you know, I just hope that Hollywood picks back up and is able to you know support the crew and the talent and everybody that's here because I'm sure you guys have heard in the news there's a lot of stuff goes overseas. There's just not as many shows currently filming. So I know a lot of people are looking for work. I've been fortunate to just like I said stay busy whether it's in Hollywood or in sales or whatever. And it's nice to have that sales backup kind of thing that I can do.
Yep.
Uh, so but yeah, I'm good. I will say that. I am staying working. It's sort of uh, hush hush, but I am staying working.
Good, yeah,
And yeah,
good for you. Yeah, and you know, we're delusional over here. We call ourselves Delulus, but we're still trying to fight for the show. You know, we're still a bit on the forefront. And if anyone ever wants to pick it up one day, then we're like, make sure you guys call.
yeah, exactly. You could do a remake or a spin-off or whatever. I mean, there's no reason there can't be another spin-off of something.
Yeah.
Obviously the Marina spin-off, right? So
There you go.
Yeah.
Sign Brooklyn up.
there we go. Maybe they adopt the baby girl.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Actually, that is a little fun note that my son Braden was potentially going to play the older version of
Uh,
Link
oh,
in the
no
last episode, and it was going to happen. Although honestly, I don't think he'd want to be on camera. He's just as a 5-year-old, he
he's
was
not.
not
way.
interested.
Gosh.
Um, we actually had plans because I'd finished filming my episode, and that was the end of the season, and we had plans to go to Legoland with Grandma the day they were filming, and I was like, if I cancel Legoland on my son, he is going to be so mad.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. We Braden is not.
Legoland's more important.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted it. It would have been fun to have him there, and you know, it was just that one little quick scene, but it just didn't work out. Timing didn't work out, but it's okay. Um, at least he was asked.
Yeah.
And Legoland's awesome. It's so much fun. Yeah, I'm sure he would have had a more exciting Legoland anyways.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have done both, I tried to figure it out. I was like, if they shoot it in the morning and we can drive down, but I think it was later in the afternoon. I was like, yeah, we can't unfortunately make it. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Fun.
One question we like to ask everyone is, did you steal anything from the set?
Did I steal? Uh, I will say I don't steal.
Did you
I'm
take?
I did ask for I did not take it. So I will always ask. Some people do steal things. I ask. I asked for our prop department to make Brooklyn a chair back. So, you know, where the
Mm,
actors sit, like the cast and director
mhm.
chairs. So she has her own chair back that says has Station 19 on one side and says Brooklyn Hudson on the other side. Uh, so that was something that was sort of at the end that I said, "Hey, do you think you guys could do
Cool.
that?" And they did. So that was really cool. That she'll maybe I'll put it up in her room when she's older or something like that. You know.
She can take it to college with her.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, here's proof I was on TV.
Yep. But that was mostly it. I did also ask post production to send me some of the sort of the outtakes or dailies
Hmm.
from when Brooklyn was on set that you know that I have to show her one day, like here's the take before, before and after, before we said right when we said rolling, and here's when we said cut, and this is what you were doing. So
Oh,
that was kind of cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
so cool. What a cool dad to be thoughtful and think of those things ahead of time. I think that's amazing and such a special thing that she'll get to have later on in
Very
life.
cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah. I hope she'll be appreciative of it. I think she will.
I think she will too.
Yeah.
Oh, so we do like to ask a couple fun questions. So my favorite fun question to ask is if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay. I feel like these when I was interviewing for a sales job. So I think time travel would be pretty cool. Um, it gives you a lot of options, like if you mess something up, let's go back, let's try it again. Uh, to also kind of see the future in a sense, like go ahead, like where's this going to play out? So I think time travel would definitely be my choice. Um, Fun fact, I worked on a show called Future Man that was a little bit about time travel, and that show, very different from Station 19, but a ton of fun to work on. Very difficult show to make, but also a ton of fun. And just if you like Seth Rogen and his kind of humor, he was a director producer on it, and anyway, time travel,
It's a
yes.
great show. I do recommend it. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's
As
But
someone
very
who binged the whole show, yes.
it's a lot of inappropriate humor, but if you like that kind of humor, it's hilarious, and um, that was just a great group of people to work with too. And I got to do 2 seasons of that. So, and that's actually what I did. I was on season 2 of Future Man, and literally came off of that and went straight into Station 19. Um, so I had like no days off.
No sleep for the
Nope.
worker.
So yeah,
Is there a time period that you would go back to if you choose to go back to one?
that's a good question. I don't know. I like the future better than the past. I don't know. Uh, I mean, it would be cool to go back and just see like historical events. Like, honestly, I think I find space travel pretty cool too. So like to go back and see like the moon landing or something, which is actually part
yeah,
of Future Man, but to go back to that time period and just see like how that brought the world together, and how that was pretty cool time.
yeah.
I like that.
What is your greatest fear?
Greatest fear. Ooh, probably to just I guess on the flip side, I always say when people ask me like, what I want to do or whatever, it's like I just want to be really good at what I do. So I think my greatest fear would be not being good at what I do. I take pride in trying to be, the best at what I do as much as I can be, and to be on top of things and to think ahead. So, so my fear would be people to think that I'm not good at it, whatever it is I'm doing.
I like that. One other question that we like to ask, is there anything that you collect? That was
Collect.
fun
Yeah, I growing up, I loved Legos. I specifically loved like Technic Legos because they were just more complicated and do a
Yeah,
lot of movements and all that kind of stuff. So I do have, some of the bigger Lego sets, the more adult Lego sets, but now my son is really good at Legos. I mean, he can build any set on his own without my help, but we like to do it together. So
yeah.
we're kind of running out of Lego sets to buy. He's got so many, but he's really good at them. And I would say, yeah, we collect Lego sets probably.
Oh, that's cool. Is there one in particular that was the most exciting to, or that you have like sitting up somewhere that you love?
Yeah, you can't even see it because it's blurred out, but I actually have the one of the Lego roller coasters in my room where I am right now.
oh,
And my
Oh,
son loves that one.
cool.
He didn't get to build that one, but
Yeah.
he likes to play with it. So one day
Ah,
we'll take it apart and probably build it together.
I love
nice.
that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I feel like that's part of the whole Lego is after you build it, you're like, okay, now what do I do with it?
Yeah, that is part of the problem is that they take up a lot of space. They're expensive. They take a lot of space.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're like, I don't really take it apart, but I don't know where to put it.
Got
Right.
like a halfway built Batmobile, like the tumbler, like
Oh
the
yeah.
big halfway built. And I'm like, one day I'll finish it, but also I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it after.
Yeah, I know I need like shelves or something somewhere to just put all these things.
Exactly.
Then my parents in Florida, they still live in Florida and they have a bunch of my old Technics still built sitting there that one
Oh.
day, when Braden wants them, we'll probably bring him out here and he can build them again.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I'm sure you guys would like to see Brooklyn, right?
For sure. If
Let
she's
me
around.
let me call my wife and have her bring her in. See. They might be.
Sure, she looks very different than baby Liam now.
Yes. Well, funny enough, she doesn't have a ton of hair yet, so she could still maybe
Oh,
play baby Liam.
Oh,
Let me go grab her. I'll be right back, all
Okay,
right?
no problem.
Say hi. Can you say hi?
Hi, Brooklyn.
You wave? Can you wave?
oh, that's a good smile you got.
Yeah.
You guys have teeth on this?
Got some teeth coming in?
Yo, she's got a lot of teeth. You're
Ooh.
drooling.
Sweetie?
You want to wave? Can you wave to those people? They watched you when you were baby Liam on TV. Yeah, they saw you when you were like let's see, I think she was about 3 months old when, oh, fun fact. So her first day on film was, I think, in December. The next time you see her in episode 2, where I know she looked a little bit bigger, was like a month later, filming wise. So she
Okay.
actually did grow quite a bit. It was literally a month. She went from 3 months to 4 months, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think we noticed that too much, but people do notice when Stefania was holding real baby versus the doll.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. I remember it being a little bad, and I think it was
Little,
episode
but
2.
you do what you can.
yeah.
There were some funny tweets or memes about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your shirt. You got
Hi.
Minnie Mouse? You like Minnie Mouse?
Love Minnie Mouse, huh? You know who you love the most? Daisy, right?
Daisy.
Yeah. You like Daisy? Yeah.
Daisy's. And she has her own cooking show, right? On the Disney Channel.
Oh, cool.
You can tell what I
That's
said.
very cool.
Is your name Brooklyn or Sissy? Is your name Brooklyn or Sissy? She likes to go by Sissy.
Sissy.
Just,
Yeah, that's cool.
See?
that's you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
oh.
She's adorable, Bryce.
Thanks.
Yes.
You got
Absolutely.
any questions for her?
You know,
Any
we
other-
have a ton, but
Yeah, does she
we'll wait
have
till
any
she's in college.
first words? Is she word yet or getting close to saying anything?
What's that?
Is she saying any first words yet or getting close to
Yeah,
saying anything?
she likes to say she loves ducks, so she'll say duck, duck.
Oh,
She doesn't.
you like
She says mama and dada a lot. In the last couple of days, she's actually started saying more stuff. Like yesterday, we were at the pool and she said snacks, so she was hungry for snacks.
Ooh,
Nice.
snacks is a good
Good.
word,
Yeah.
Brooklyn. That's good. No.
We like snacks.
You wave? You like to wave? Yeah. Oh, that's you. You see yourself.
Yeah, you're seeing you.
So,
I will
there-
say what I'd like to do. I haven't told Danielle or Stefania, but someday in the future, I think it'd be fun to get a little reunion together with the 3 of them.
That would be good.
that would be fun.
Do a little photo shoot.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, it'd be
Yeah.
fun.
That would be fun, huh?
What do you think? You
I
want to
think
meet
the
your
hardest
mom?
part is going to be getting them, their schedules
Oh yeah,
are not always clicking lately.
yeah. I mean, they both stay busy. We all stay busy, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So.